We're live.
We're live, Tim. I'm going to swap our heads around.
Nope.
There we go.
Why?
So that way,
no, if you're hosting, you should be on that side, no?
well, what happens, Tim,
In my
is
mind, at
I have two screens. I have the recording screen and the production screen. And when I look at the production screen, it looks like I'm looking over here. So that way, it looks like I'm looking at you if I switch the screens around. Otherwise, I look like I'm looking away. I think it makes it look more personal. Hi, Tim. How are you?
This Coleman is very close.
This Coleman is very far away. It's weird weather.
Yes, it's somehow hot, unpleasantly hot without being pleasantly sunny.
Yes.
In a way only England can manage.
The tube killed me on the way home because of the heat.
Oh. And they don't have any of the aircon on.
Yeah. So, anyone who's watching the live show, catch up or live or whatever, we're going to take next week off because I won't be in the country, and that means I won't be editing the show, or my girlfriend will kill me for editing the show while on holiday. Which I know we recently took a week off, but that was because I was stuck at work till super late. Not I was sunning myself on a beach in Turkey, like I plan to this time.
Good.
So, no show next week, but we're going to come back with a bang. We're going to come back with some Death Stranding too, so that's good. I'm very excited for that. That should arrive while I'm on holiday.
Oh.
You got any plans, Tim? How are you going to spend your week off? Star Wars cards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny enough.
Let me just adjust my camera a little bit. Nope.
Oh. How did you manage to lose all volume while your microphone appeared?
Because what happens is when I'm back here, the microphone's behind me. So then when I'm here, I'm talking into the microphone.
This Coleman is very close to the microphone.
That's right. One day we'll teach you all about perception.
Okay.
Right. Are we ready to do a show that is going to be very heavily focused on Summer Games Fest?
As ready as I'll ever be.
It's like the old E3 shows, but without the excitement or 2 days worth of editing for me.
Lack of ease.
A ridiculous amount of people on the show.
Yeah.
What was I thinking? All right, let's go.
Episode 4.
Mind's Eye is not good.
We'll do it live. BRB UK.
Do it live!
Worse teeth, better accents.
We'll do it live!
Hello and welcome to episode 640 of BRB UK. I am Coleman. Hi. And by me doing the shouting, it means no Dan.
No Dan.
Dan is away. Dan is off. He got stuck getting back from Summer Games Fest. He was looking at all the games. He got so excited by the announcement of a new Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Who could have seen it coming? Just missed his plane from all the excitement. So, no Dan this week.
If only that were true and he wasn't stuck in a boring work meeting because of his American overlord bosses that don't understand time.
I know the feeling. I deal with Americans and I deal with Canadians, and their reasonable time seem to be way after my hours. So I do sympathise. Hey Tim.
Hey.
How you doing?
Okay. It's been a kind
Good.
of big, exciting week in video games.
Yes, and we should probably get straight into it because it is Summer Game Fest 2025. We had a little taste of that. Oh, Summer Lame Fest, it is not. Summer Game Fest, all the way, baby.
Fistful of festing.
We got a little taste of this last week. We went through the state of play. This week we got the Summer Game Fest stream with Mr. Jeff Keighley, and also we got the Xbox stream as well. So we're going to go through not the entire thing as Wanton tend to do, but we've gone through. We've picked out some trailers to talk about. I realised just probably 10 minutes before we started recording, I missed some as well. So I haven't got everything that I wanted, but we have a lot.
Okay.
So do you want to, on the list, Tim, because I haven't had a chance to rewatch anything. I just pulled clips for this. I did the producer role.
Okay.
Do you wanna pick someone to talk about from Summer Games Fest?
Well, it's one I've been excited for a while, so I'm going to go with Mouse PI for Hire.
Okay. So this is the big news well, first of all, Mouse PI for Hire. This was announced the day of the copyright of Steamboat Willie's Mickey Mouse being over, and probably one of the more creative looking versions of that property being used. And so we've seen a couple of updates since then. We've had the actual title being Mouse PI for Hire, and now it's the announcement that Troy Baker, voice extraordinaire, will be the main character in that game.
I mean, if there wasn't enough games and genres and different things that Troy Baker had been in, he just made sure that, this is it. This is, black and white, Mickey Mouse, right, yeah, okay. Although, does that mean that Disney won't want to work with him in future? Do you think he'll be blacklisted? Or black and white listed?
I'm sure it's fine.
No?
I think after they did that Mickey Mouse Steamboat Willie horror movie, I think anything that's not that bad.
I mean, this does look really good, though. I have to say, it's shaping up really well. Like, they've obviously been taking their time with it, but seem to be adding more and more to the game in the time that they're taking, so I'm okay with that. But it still says it's going to be out sometime this year, so yeah, I'm excited to see this one on the way. I'd like to see this come to fruition. I wouldn't be at all surprised if it does get delayed, just because there's a lot riding on it. It's a big thing. It's been getting a lot of buzz, and it seems like it's from a smaller developer. So I'm not getting my hopes up too much. The fact that they haven't announced an actual date in 2025 yet is a bit suspect. But I'm still excited.
Yeah. It was quite funny because the way they did this announcement is they were clearly working on this game, waiting for the copyright to finish, and then went, boom, day one, baby, there you go. And got a lot of headlines because there were a lot of projects announced, as one tends to do. But that was the most creative looking, and it does look fun, cool little first-person shooter. And the least Troy Baker sounding voice from Troy Baker, which was pretty cool. Not since he just basically did Mark Hamill's voice as the Joker in Arkham Origins. All right, I'm going to pick one then. Good choice, Tim.
Okay.
Mixtape. This is probably the big standout for me, along with that puppet game that I forgot to grab. Felt that boxing, but Mixtape, really interesting looking game because on a glance to me, this seems like it's going to be one of those kind of coming of age, Life is Strange type titles. But then once you see this thing in motion and you see there's like the skateboarding and the kind of slice of life of the 80s, late 80s by the looks of it, it's very, very interesting and very beautiful as well. And apparently the way
Stranger Things vibes going on for me, which is no bad thing for it as well. But
no, yeah, I'm always a fan of that. And it seems to have a varied mix of types of gameplay styles in this. And from looking into this more, and this is a very small studio again, an actual small studio, not one that's like, hey, we've got 3 people working on this, and then we've got 300 contractors. It's the way they seem to have done this is rather than the normal way of doing game development, where you're going to show something off a games stream or convention or something, where you work on the vertical slice and then you polish that as much as you can, and then you work out the game from there. From this, it appears that because so much of this it's planned like a film or a TV show, so it's all about the pacing and the tone of the game itself, the story. So from apparently they've storyboarded this all and then started working on it as the whole game, and now they polish up the whole game rather than the vertical slice. So it's a really interesting way of doing it. And an 80s soundtrack of absolute heavy hitters is
soundtrack does look like it's going to be a main focus of yes. The fact that in the trailer they put up all the names of the people, the big 80s acts that they've already signed up for it. The fact it's called Mixtape as well does hint to that as well. But they obviously music is kind of front and center part of the experience by the looks of things.
Yes, I am looking forward to getting my hands on that at some time. It does look like, because of all the heavy hitters in the soundtrack, that it may be an issue to do streaming with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it looks cool.
Yes.
I think it's a good pick.
You want to pick another one?
I'm pretty much going to stick to the order in which I've put them on the list for your
Okie
ease.
doke.
But so I'm going to go Atomic Heart 2.
Ooh. So if I remember rightly, you didn't play
Yeah.
Atomic Heart just because of
No,
timing.
I did, but not as much as I would have thought I would have done with it coming to Game Pass and stuff. And I liked it, but I didn't love it. But part of my original attraction why I was more excited for it is because when they originally announced it, it was going to be a VR game, and I think it would have been a phenomenal VR game. And so I was a bit less excited by the time it came out, and they scrapped that as part of their plans.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reception of the game and just my initial impression of going into the game wasn't quite as interesting and well thought out as it seemed to be from trailers, and the promise of the game it didn't exactly deliver on. But I still think it's an interesting universe. They seem to have taken this and ratcheted it up a bit, and I'm very interested to see what they can do with a sequel to that game if they do react to the criticism of what the first one was. And it seems like the open world stuff has got some more interesting traversal stuff going on. And it does seem like they're making a bigger, bolder experience all round. So I'm back on board, kind of thing.
Just to throw a comparison for something that I guarantee you're going to get sick of me talking about in the coming weeks, but Death Stranding.
Yes.
So when this came out, it reviewed not very favorably. Anyone that got early copies of this game, like the big reviews gave it pretty decent scores, but the overall impression seemed to be, hey, I don't like the kind of tone of the there's like sexual nature of the vending machines you're interacting with, and it's all just a bit immature. But then when it got into players' hands day one, it seemed very like there was excitement for this. My issue was it performed very poorly on the S, I felt.
Right.
And I did go and play it on the on PC instead, and I do need to revisit on the X. But what I found with this was all the kind of flash that they show with the big and creative world, this Soviet taken over universe. It's really exciting at the start, and then they go, okay, now you're playing underground for the rest of the game in corridors, and it's that really exciting. The money shot is the opening, and then the rest is just like, okay.
As I said, I like the idea of the universe and stuff like that, but for me, I didn't. It's not to say that the controversy around it wasn't merited and wasn't deserved. Not commenting on that, but just in terms of purely my enjoyment of the game, wasn't entirely hampered by that, or some of the attitude of the main character and the surrounding things was a bit off and did distract from my enjoyment a bit. But the main thing was just I didn't enjoy the gameplay as much as I thought I would from having seen trailers. That may be the exact same problem with this game, but I'm still curious enough from what they showed in this trailer to go, all right, you might be able to get me back on board, especially if it comes to Game Pass or something. Like, I don't know if I'll put down money for it, but I will certainly give it a try again and see if I get on with it a bit better than the first one.
Is this coming to Game Pass?
I don't know. They haven't announced that yet,
they haven't said.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm surprised. I'm surprised we're getting a sequel, but also we're getting a bunch of expansions to this universe as well. So probably worth talking about the Cube as we're talking about Atomic Heart 2 then. So a spin-off in the universe of Atomic Heart. Very interesting, I thought. And it's in VR tip. No, it's not in VR. And not a Philip Schofield to be seen in sight at all.
No, not that sort of cube.
Walking in a straight line is easy, but can you do it in the cube?
Cubey thing. But yeah, this was like curious. I don't entirely get exactly what they were meaning in terms, and they didn't really detail what they meant by how this game worked and how it's structured. But it does sound curious enough to pique my interest and go, okay, I want to see what's going on.
I like the idea that
extraction shooter, but we'll see.
Yeah, so I like the idea that Mundfish are gone, okay, it's a universe, we're going to expand this out into, and more kind of creative projects should do that. I realised where I was going with the Death Stranding thing was first game, a lot of people went boring walking simulator, and then when they showed the trailers for the second one, they were very quick to go. Okay, so there's lots of guns and running and explosions and sci-fi and monsters and things, and that's what I'm getting the feeling from Atomic Heart 2 and this as well. I mean, this one's got a flipping King Shark in a super scuba suit. That's pretty cool.
Got a grandma with guns as well, so you know.
Yeah, and whatever that thing that looks cute at the end
cute
is.
little alien.
Whatever the cute, a little Grogu tree thing.
Again, I like the universe. I'm curious about both games. I think I possibly am more interested in Atomic Heart 2 just because that looks like... Well, I was going to say it looks like a first-person shooter, but I'm not sure if it's a single-player game or not. They look like there might be co-op in Atomic Heart 2. I don't know if that's true, but just from the fact that it looked like you were going around with other people at one stage, I don't know. But I'm curious about both games, so we'll see.
Okay. I've got 2 games here that are going to line up perfectly back to back. So we're going to start off with, I think, Marvel Cosmic Invasion, which you've marked down. So this is a kind of 2D brawler type game. I don't know if they announced this previously, but this was specifically to show off the characters.
This we hadn't seen these characters, but they had announced the game. This is the one where I think you're 2 characters at once, which is why you don't see like both characters on screen at all times, I think.
I assumed it was 2-player co-op.
I think it is co-op, but I think you can be 2 characters at one time. Or you're switching on the fly between 2 characters, I think.
Yeah, so this was to show off She-Hulk and Rocket Raccoon. Looks pretty cool. I like that kind of... beautiful pixel art for one, but the arcade style. It looks like an arcade game that that never actually existed. So that's a good one to look out for. It does look like a lot of fun. I really like the animation on
moves as well, which could be quite good. Like I always
always fun in a Marvel
game and stuff.
Yeah, I really like the design of She-Hulk as well. Like that kind of she looks like She-Hulk, but she's rippling. But then when she's powered up, she basically looks like the Hulk with a wig on. She's proper huge. Looks pretty good. And I think teaming up with that pretty well is a sequel to the Scott Pilgrim arcade-style brawler. So Scott Pilgrim EX, which didn't know that was a thing that would be in the works. But yeah, Scott Pilgrim and the gang teaming up again against enemies from the previous game. You got the vegans, you got the robots, you got the vampires. I really, really enjoyed the Scott Pilgrim game. It's that kind of, it's a brawler, but it's got the RPG mechanic of like grinding and leveling up your character and finding power-ups and things. And I think that really worked. And the style of using, I mean, because the first one was an advertisement for the movie that was coming out, but done in the style of the comic book. And then since then, we've had the movie remade in the comic book form as an animation on Netflix. Weird projects like that. So a sequel to the beat 'em up is a pretty good idea, I think.
Yeah, and they mentioned the creator and the writer of the original comic, I think it was involved. Yeah. Is that right? But then is some of the other people they mentioned, were they people that worked on the previous game, or is that not the case? I don't know.
I believe so.
Right, okay. Because I don't know too much about Scott Pilgrim. I didn't actually play the last game, even though I think I would have enjoyed it if I did, or I didn't play it at any significant enough time to stick in my memory. And I didn't really know Scott Pilgrim until I watched the movie. Like, I didn't know the property before that. So I know a lot of people love it, and the movie seemed to go down reasonably well, but I don't know anything about it beyond that. So I don't care too much. But
just
good
to
for people.
Just to draw attention to my favourite joke in that film, where they're introducing Knives Chow to all the different band members, and then there's the one kid sat in the corner. She goes, "What do you play?" He goes, "Oh, that's a big question. Legend of Zelda, Super Mario." I like that. Just for you, Tim.
Yep.
Deadpool VR.
Okay.
You want to talk about Deadpool VR?
Yes and no. I'm sad this exists because it only seems to be coming to MetaQuest, and that's a shame.
Well, let's get rid of our PSVRs. They're rubbish anyway, and then we'll go get MetaQuests.
Don't get me started, Coleman. Like I think PlayStation have almost forgotten about PSVR 2. So yeah, but it's a shame because this looks like it would be a really good game. And
Neil Patrick Harris is Deadpool now.
Cell shaded art style. Well, I think work really well on Quest, but could have looked even better in PSVR 2. And it's just a shame because it looks like a really good game. And yeah, don't think it, well. I won't hold my breath about it coming to PSVR 2. It would be great if it did, but I don't think it will. I think it's probably going to be exclusive to MetaQuest, but
Well, I'll tell you what, when I finally cave and go get my my Quest 3, I'll come around and we can play.
Studios, yeah, it's definitely not coming. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll play some Deadpool and some Batman Arkham, whatever it was called. Yeah, it looks good. I like the campaign they're putting behind it. So, as I said earlier, Neil Patrick Harris is voicing Deadpool in this.
Seems like a good
fun
fit.
fact. Well, he voiced Spider-Man in I believe it. I can't remember if it was Shattered Dimensions or one of the. It was one of the Spider-Man games as well.
Okay.
But they did a. So if you don't know, over here we tend to know Neil Patrick Harris from How I Met Your Mother or Harold and Kumar. But he started out as a child actor in Doogie Howser, MD.
Doogie Howser, MD.
So Ryan Reynolds, as a kind of jab to say you're voicing my guy, he recreated Doogie Howser on his YouTube channel. So that was a fun little poke. I liked that.
Nice.
What are we talking about next, Tim?
Should we do one I think both of us are kind of looking forward to? Onimusha,
Okay.
Way of the Sword.
Oh, I am so up for this now. I'm about halfway through Onimusha 2, so I'm catching up. And then I think I'm gonna just emulate the other two games on the Steam Deck to get myself fully ready for. When is this out? Is this out this year or next year?
I think it's next year.
Okay, I've got time. I've got time.
We got time. Is
But
on your side.
I remember 3 being a very kind of easy game to get. I think I did that in like half a day on a rental and then returned it to Blockbuster back in the day. But 4 I didn't know existed until I was talking about 1 on the show, and I was like, oh, they made a 4th one, and apparently it was really good, and I didn't know it was a thing. So yeah, this looks absolutely fantastic. Going from a PS2 art style to this is just mind blowing to me.
Yeah, I mean, the swordplay looks great. It visually looks fantastic. It looks like mostly in cutscenes that we're seeing, but still, either way, like everything about we've seen about this game looks great, and this extra trailer added a bit more excitement. Still got a little bit more time to wait, but yeah, this is one I'm definitely probably excited for. So yeah, that is good.
I like it's the 2 returns of different types of games we've got seemingly over the last couple of years. It's the BioShock like and the hack 'em slash 'em inspired. Let's get away from the Souls likes and back to good old hack and slash. So
Good. I prefer.
and Onimusha, it's not typically a hack and slash traditionally. It was more of a like a Resident Evil type, as we said last week. It was a spin-off of Resident Evil. So yeah, great choice, that one. Speaking of the BioShock like, did I make a note of it? I don't think I did. Whoops. Clockwork Revolution. I thought I had that
That's
ripped.
on my list.
Oh no, I didn't have the trailer ripped. Sorry, Tim.
That's fine.
Yeah, this
is
one.
one I actually watched a couple of times just because I was so impressed with it. Like, it's one that I forgot to.
Oh, it's because I jumped forward to Xbox. Sorry.
Okay.
Screw it. We'll just throw it in.
Okay, we'll just throw it in anyway. That's good because I can't wait to talk about this game anyway.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, it looks great. Like, I don't know if I missed out on my ones to watch because I decided it was a prime candidate for getting delayed, or whether I just forgot about it when I was doing it. But I think this is probably one of my most anticipated games. This was. Go on a limb. There might be others, but I think this is the only one I saw from all those games that I would probably buy at full price, even though it's hopefully coming to Game Pass, basically. Or I might even go, all right, I will give you some extra money for the deluxe version of this or something, because it looks like a very inventive universe. It looks very original and interesting. I don't know. There's something I quite like about the steampunk aesthetic, and I don't think it's been explored that much in recent years in games, and certainly not in this manner, in this way, in a kind of comical approach to it. And a kind of
Almost Fable
adult
level
comical.
humor, but a little bit more puerile.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks unique enough to be very interesting, basically, and I'm very much on board the look and feel of what it looks like in the universe. Like gameplay, it does look like it's going to be Bioshock esque in terms of kind of steampunky with a comedic side to it and first person shooter. Like that mix of things does very much remind of Bioshock, but it does very much look like its own thing as well. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I do really like the look of it. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's again, it's a return to form of a type of a genre we don't really have, which is the Bioshock likes. Which we're getting this, we're getting more Atomic Heart, we're getting, well, if the rumors are to be believed, we're getting a remake of Bioshock in some form. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to some more single player narrative focused titles, Tim.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Thank you, please.
Mm-hmm.
And then who knows? Maybe a little bit down the line, we'll get that Bioshock battle royale extraction shooter that we've secretly always wanted, full of microtransactions. Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you,
Big
2K.
Daddy microtransactions.
Big Daddy 2K. Give me the microtransactions all over my face, neck, and chest. Talking about a full price game.
Right.
I'm going to stick with Xbox, actually. We'll just jump around
Really?
where we need to.
Just going to jump back and forth now, willy nilly.
Just
We've just
jump
blurred
in.
the lines entirely, yeah?
Yeah, one that had a pretty impressive outing, I thought, was The Outer Worlds 2. And
Right,
initially,
they did
I've
show
been...
a lot of this, yeah.
Yes, and I've been quite excited about and as well, as they tend to do with the Xbox shows, like they pick a game and go, right, we're showing this off, and then afterwards we're going to do a big showcase on it.
They even kind of titled
it.
it to dampen expectations that this was the show for this and Grounded 2. In so much as I wasn't sure they were going to show anything other than those two games. So when they did, it was actually quite a nice surprise that there was quite a lot of other content to it as well.
So it's looking great, and Outer Worlds, I did pick it as my game of the year. The year I think it was one of the game of years overall on the website when we were still doing the Golden Barrel Awards. So I'm a big fan of the original game. Second game, and one of the reasons I played that game so much is it was available on Game Pass, and then I ended up buying it on a different platform later. With this one, again, it's going to be available on Game Pass. But if you wanted to buy this full price game, as Xbox did warn us that they were going to do, you're going to be paying, is it £80? Well, I know it's $80. But I'm assuming that they're just translating dollars to pounds with us, which they did warn us they're going to do this with all the first party big AAA Xbox games going forwards. They announced this last year, and I'm guessing, the whole point of that is to go get Game Pass, play Game Pass. You get, get this game on Game Pass.
Basically.
You don't need to buy the game, so you shouldn't worry that we're putting the price up. It's exactly the same as Nintendo has just done, where they went, "Hey, if you want Mario Kart, then that's
you pay us
£70." Yeah, it's a £70 game. Unless you want the physical game, that's an £80 game. So you might as well get it on the Nintendo Switch too, because then it's just a £60 game. What a savings you are making by Gradthar's hammer. What a savings. But here, they haven't gone the 3-tiered system. They're like, well, you could pay £80 for it, or you could just get the Game Pass subscription. Either way, we're quids in. And putting this out on, on Steam, or putting this out on PlayStation, there are going to be people that pay the full 80 for this game if they want it. But I don't think it's a £80 game.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't pay £80 for this game. But
no, 50,
I am
60,
very
maybe?
glad that it is going to come to Game Pass, and I am going to get to play it as part of Game Pass, because it does look interesting enough that I think I'll have fun with it. Whether I would get my full money's worth out of it by completing it remains to be seen. Not sure I would, but it's a playground I want to go in and kick around and have some fun and see like different science weapons and their effects. I don't know that sustain me for a whole 80-hour RPG that they'll be asking my time for, but I do want to go in and mess around and see if it is fun, and then see, how long it holds my attention. But I do like the look of it. I think it looks good.
Yeah, and again, the first game was really good. I like that world. I like that humor. I like a lot of the traits and mechanics that were introduced, and this one seems to build on it in such a way that, this does seem like, hey, this is a current generation game. This is something that I've been looking for. I'm excited to see how it plays on a console, because a lot of games don't get optimized very well for consoles, especially as it's coming to S as well as X. So we'll see how that goes, because I remember playing the first game on Xbox One and going, I would play this game a lot more if it didn't look like this. That's why I jumped to PC.
Fair enough. Right, I'm going to drag us back to the Summer Games Fest.
I thought you might.
Slum it, but it's an interesting one because it wouldn't be the type of game I would necessarily normally pick. But I think Arc Raiders looks very interesting. Like,
that is an interesting
buzz,
choice,
and I think for good reason.
Oddly
enough,
it's not the other game.
Yeah, well, oddly enough, I think stylistically, and even with them like showing food at the beginning, but also like in the style and form of their logo and the presentation of their trailer, it kind of reminds me of Sony's failure from, was it last year now, I think?
Yeah. No, it was this year.
Was it this year?
Was it this year?
No, it can't
Oh,
be this
God,
year.
I can't remember. What is time, Tim?
I can only remember the name of the game. That's part of the...
Concord.
Yes, Concord. But that's how fast it crashed and burned. But yeah, like, there's a lot of similarities in terms of... I'm not entirely sure this is a game that I like in terms of the style of game they're going for. I think that was more a hero shooter, and this looks more like an extraction shooter. Two things I don't necessarily have much time for.
It is.
But Arc Raiders looks fantastic. Again, the universe, the world they're creating, the trailer presentation and stuff looks so good that I am tempted to go, okay, maybe I should pay more attention to this than I normally would. This might be the one extraction shooter that stands head and shoulders above. I still not 100% convinced it's necessarily going to be for me, but I'm interested enough to possibly give it a go at some point and be paying attention to it because it's getting a lot of buzz, and I think it might be the one that actually makes it and punches through the existing kind of hold that other games have on audiences to actually capture enough of its own audience to survive and not crash and burn. So
yeah,
I'm interested. Well, I mean,
interestingly, the playtest for this was going on the same time as the playtest for Marathon recently. And it was before the Marathon controversy as well. Yeah. And the people that seem to be playing the Marathon playtest and doing their streams and stuff, it was for promotional reasons. They were being paid, and then once they were done, they're like, okay, back to Arc Raiders, because that's what everyone is playing and enjoying. So I think out of the two, this is the one that's going to be the big hit.
And that's got to be worrying Bungie at the moment, because this looks like it's going to eat their lunch, basically, if they launch anywhere before or after it. I don't think it will survive in the gravitational pull of Arc Raiders by the looks of things, but we'll see. Yeah, hopefully.
Sticking with the A's, Tim, you picked Axe of Blood, and I don't blame you.
And I do like the look of this, giving big Sifu vibes. But that's not a bad thing. I think they said this was a Korean developer, I think, from memory, when they were talking about it. But yeah, like, looked like Sifu with a bit more kind of almost like Gareth Edwards kind of got his hands on Sifu and made it a bit more bloody. And like, there's something that looked like Sifu was not bad for this, but even though it's a cartoony take on like the look, it still looks a bit more kind of gritty, realistic and graphically violent, and kind of, I don't know, like, I wouldn't necessarily go, well, it needs to be more violent for me to be more interested in it, or more bloody or whatever, but it looked like a slightly different take on Sifu in an interesting way, basically. So I don't think you can talk about this game without talking about Sifu, because it does look similar, but at the same time, I'm very interested to see what direction this takes. Obviously, it's not going to have the Sifu mechanic of like aging as you go, because that would be too much of a rip off. So it'll be interesting to see what they structure into this game and how they structure it and how it comes out. But yeah, I like the look of the gameplay. It looks interesting.
Pensive Games says set in the dystopian city of Bandung,
Bandung?
Indonesia. Indonesia, Tim. Yes, I like the look of it. I like that style. I was so excited for Sifu, and I played a lot of Sifu. I don't think I completed it because that game has a learning curve like a brick wall. It just gets to a point and kicks your ass. And I think to the point with, and I'm sounding a bit DSP over here, but I think they did actually patch in an easy mode to that game that I have yet to try to see if I can get through it. I played hours and hours and hours and hours of that game. I absolutely loved it. I just wish I was better at it, and I really did try to learn on that one. I think I got a better experience out of the Amazon Prime show, the video game show that they would do. Secret Level, that was it. They did an episode on Sifu. Yeah.
I think one of the games we're not going to talk about, Coleman, Mind's Eye, just because I don't want to kick something when it's down that low. But by the sounds of it, people don't play Mind's Eye. It's worse than early things were predicting, early impressions.
Look, Tim, I've seen a lot of positive videos on Mind's Eye. Granted, they all say that this review copy has been provided. No, that's an interesting thing. Yeah, we're not talking about the preview. The game is out, so it's kind of pointless talking about it now. But very interesting launch where they did a preview event. They said that the preview event, we're not giving out review copies of the game. So no one had review copies. So all the reviews you're seeing are people that went out and bought their game and are brutally honest about the state of the game. But there are videos of being very positive about the game, and the reason they're being like, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I actually saw that on a title. But the reason they are being so positive is because they were provided codes, because they're for the paid videos. They're doing the advertisements.
Doesn't bode well, does it?
But if you look at YouTube, you type in Mind's Eye, like the ones that float to the top is all the negative videos, all the reviews.
I mean, such is the nature of the internet. Like, it does seem though that some people are comparing the launch to Cyberpunk, but saying that Cyberpunk 2077 had redeemable qualities that you wanted to see saved. Whereas
had good
Mind's Eye
bones,
basically.
Well, from what I've seen of Mind's Eye, what I've seen and what I've heard is it's got an interesting story, and from what the game was before launch to as it was building up to the -0, the -1 patch and the day one patch, it has shown stable improvements.
Right, yeah.
So I've got a feeling that one day this is going to be a very worthwhile bargain bin pickup. So I will keep an eye on this, and I hope I'll get to play it and enjoy the story one day. But at the moment, you've got wonky AI, graphical glitches galore, really weird mechanics with drive. They've got like their version of the Tesla in that universe, and you can hear it changing gears because they just didn't bother changing any of the mechanics from a regular car.
It seems to me, from what I've heard, that it basically, I don't know. As I said, we didn't want to kick it when it's down, and we're kicking it when it's down. But
my apologies.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine.
We did warn everyone.
It seems to me, like from what I heard, that the actual structure of the not level design, but the actual mission structure and the way things work in the game has been dumbed down because the game world was so broken it couldn't support complex ideas. And that just sounds like, oh, what have you done? Like, why didn't you wait? Like, it's one of those games that may have been released much earlier than it should have been, but they probably couldn't afford to waste it. My hope is that it gets patched significantly to the point where it is playable and interesting, and maybe not bargain bin, maybe these days it goes to Game Pass or something and gets a second life on there because it's been improved enough that it's now playable, and then people go in and go, oh, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. and gets a second life through that sort of system as well these days.
I believe, isn't this a PlayStation release, not an Xbox release? I can't remember if it was multi-platform or not. I know it's PC and PlayStation definitely, but it was all the state of plays and things. So I thought this was a PlayStation release. And it has the PlayStation 5 Pro enhanced sticker on it, but it's apparently that there is no enhancement on PlayStation 5 Pro. It still plays quite poorly. But I think this might be it's going to be the Days Gone thing where that got pretty bad reviews. There wasn't much hype on the game when it came out.
But you loved it.
I loved it. It's one of my favorite games of all time. And there were a lot of people.
Mind's Eye Common.
Yeah, there were dozens of us that loved Days Gone. Dozens, Tim. And along the way, people started picking it up in sales and went, "Oh, how did I sleep on this game? This game is excellent. Why wasn't there more praise about this game?" And that led to the director of that studio going completely bananas. It's just buy games at full price if you want sequels. I did buy it at full price, you dickhead. Where's my sequel? Oh, you can't give me one. She left the studio.
Oh.
Also, sorry, Ben lost like a third of their studio this week, which is not great.
No.
Let's move on. I'm curious as to why you've picked this one, Tim, because I'm a man that was burnt by the PlayStation 1 era of a little game called Wu-Tang Taste the Pain.
Oh.
Why have you've picked Wu-Tang Rise of the Thingy-Bob?
Right,
I forgot the name.
It's interesting from a number of perspectives. I don't know if they disappeared
Rise
or
of the
just
Deceiver,
disappeared
sorry.
from general, but they didn't seem to be doing much of anything musically for a while. And now I've heard a few of their songs coming out more recently. I don't know if that is just me not paying enough attention, but they've definitely disappeared from gaming for a number of years. Wu-Tang.
Do you not remember the Martin Shkreli thing?
Sorry?
Well, they made an album that whoever bought the album had the rights to that album, so they could then pick to play it to the public and or they could keep it secret. And Martin Shkreli, that Martin Shkreli bought it and then kept it in a vault and decided to only let his rich friends listen to it.
I don't know who Martin Shkreli is, and I'd never heard that.
He's the guy who bought the HIV medication and then raised the price of it.
Oh, a nice guy then. Oh, great.
Nice guy. He's in prison, I think.
Oh, good. Where he deserves to be.
Oh, he had to give it back as well, I've been told.
Okay.
Because he went to prison.
But, Wu-Tang, I used to really like their fighting games, and they tend to lend themselves to things. They made some really interesting, good fighting games. I liked them. They were good. Like, not all of them, necessarily. Like, I think the last one wasn't as good. That's why they kind of packed up and went home. But yeah, like I used to like the fighting games. They were good. They were decent.
Fair
good
enough.
little fighting games. And this one isn't like a. I don't think was it necessarily 1-on-1, but it was definitely more like a Street Fighter-esque game, even though it had kind of a slightly different approach and like interacting. Destructible environment type things or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but yeah.
The one I had was it was a game that was initially for the PS1, I think, and it was it was the PS1, and it was meant to be like insane people in an asylum fighting it out, and it was very bloody, and it was 18 rated, and at some point that got axed because it got too much negative press before the game came out, so it got reskinned and turned into a Wu-Tang Clan game. Which you could play 4-player, and it was a novelty on the PS1. You could play 4-player if you went and got a multi-tap. So I went out and got a multi-tap, got 2 extra controllers, got Wu-Tang Taste the Pain, got all my friends over, and it did not play well. We did not enjoy that game.
Well, there were good Wu-Tang fighting games. I can't remember which one now, but...
Def Jam? Are they in Def Jam?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that'll explain it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Governor Mitch.
Yes. But this looked like a third-person brawler, which is a bit of a different approach. And I like the look of it. I think it looked cool. So
fair enough.
I'm interested, and it's bound to have a banging soundtrack as well. So that is also good.
I forgot to pull a clip for this one, but Felt That Boxing. It's a puppet game about boxing, which
it's just a puppet.
So did I get that right? There, it's like recorded. It's like an FMV game kind of thing. They've recorded puppets and then it's interacting the scenes. I'm not sure.
Sense,
I saw it because they wrote real gameplay footage captured or something like that. And then when I saw, I was like, wow, those puppets look really, really. Oh, it's actual puppets, I think. They've just recorded the scenes and
It's
spliced that
just
into a game.
puppet.
I really like that idea.
Okay,
So
it looks
yeah,
cool.
I'll be looking out for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Fun times. Let's talk about. So this was like the headline of Summer Games Fest. This is the newest Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 9 Requiem. Which I'm trying to find the video. There it is.
Which they did a bit of hook and tease with this. They were like, "Oh, you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for the new Resident Evil game," and then they did the whole. And here's one more thing. Oh, it's Resident Evil. Who would have expected?
It's Call of Duty Black Ops 7 with the guy from Heroes.
But yeah, that was like a nice little tease. Like going into the trailer, it was quite a while into the trailer. Like you were like, "Is this Resident Evil?" Because obviously, like from one Resident Evil to the other, it can be quite different. Like, yeah, there was that thought at one stage as well. Because it's very much this like FBI office kind of setting, and you don't really know what's going on, and they don't really show any horror elements until quite far into the trailer. So it was difficult to spot as a Resident Evil game.
For those of us in the know, Tim, there was quite a giveaway that if this wasn't a Resident Evil game, it was at least in the RE engine, because the way of the characters look, but also RE engine does a very specific thing with hair. So as soon as you got the close-up shot of the protagonist there, it's like, that's an RE engine character, that.
Yeah, they might have given it away for some sooner than others. I did not spot that on the way in. But yeah, like the last few Resident Evil games have been very different settings from previous Resident Evil games that all kind of didn't necessarily have the same characters but existed in the same universe, even if they didn't, sort of thing. And they seem to have bounced around between, like, it's just a horror game and there's not much, like, whether it's in first person or third person, like, there's not much thread that threads all the recent Resident Evil games together. Basically, they do just go from one thing to another, and this seems to be going down a slightly different route again, going to kind of the FBI style investigation type thing by the looks of things. I'm guessing that's the character that you're being, but there's some history where she's had a traumatic past as well, and that plays into things based on the location of where your mother died by the looks of things. But yeah.
Did you complete Village?
I did not.
Okay, it does tie in pretty well.
It does. Okay. Interesting. Okay.
But yes, there's a lot of ties to it. The thing that isn't shown in the trailer that I thought was very interesting is that, so this looks to be a first-person game like 7 and like 8, but this is actually a mixture. You can play this in either as a first-person game as the previous two were, or you can play it in third-person like the traditional Resident Evil since 4, 5. I can't remember when they went away from tank controls. So you have the choice of doing that, but that keeps it open, Tim, for you to get that VR patch down the road.
Yes, they have been very good at supporting VR with their big titles. So there's another one.
Yeah,
I hope they will.
They did it day one with Biohazard, and then they patched it in later with 8. I've got a feeling if they're going to do this with VR, it's going to be a patch in. I won't. I'll never say never again after the last one, because I went, if they're not doing it in launch, Tim, they're never getting it. And then about 6 months later, they went, here you go, some VR.
You also missed one of my other picks from Summer Game Fest, which was Ill as well.
I was working my way up to it, because I think between Silent Hill and Ill, I think Resident Evil have got some competition, because there are some very gruesome looking horror games coming.
Yeah, very creepy. And Ill looked very creepy, possibly even creepier than the stuff that we saw in Silent Hill.
We may get an age gate on this one, by the way.
It looked very disturbing indeed. But yeah, like, horror games aren't necessarily my thing, but sometimes they just grab me enough to get me interested. Again, I'm not entirely sure I'll put money down for this, but I hope it comes to a service at some point, because this is one I think I could have fun with, because it looks properly freaky and scary much in the same way that we said with Silent Hill. It just looks disturbing and like it might actually scare me.
It's the creativity of the body torture, I
Yeah.
think, that is what's catching me, that you don't see in, I mean, never mind games, you don't see it in a lot of media. It's a very 80s kind of mindset, but using
Yeah.
modern technology. I have a
Reminiscent
question.
of The Thing and stuff like that, like that
Yeah.
taken to the next level. But yeah, I kind of like what they're doing with it as well. It looks interesting.
So this is Mundfish again.
Mm.
So is this also in the universe of Atomic Heart? Or
I
is
mean,
this something
maybe.
else?
I think this might be something else, but you don't know. It could just be mutant babies. But it didn't look to be the kind of steampunk-esque kind of technology thing going on. It looks like just straight up normal weapons.
I was trying to work out the tie-in if it was, and there is someone in like a mech suit that looks like it's from Atomic Heart. So if there was, and I could assume this is closed off from the rest of the world in a facility or something.
Yeah, or
it's all
something,
gone wrong. Some a biohazard, if you would. All right, I think we're out of stuff from the Summer Games Fest. So we want to get through the rest of the Xbox stuff a little sharp as we are. We've eaten a lot of time up already. High on Life 2, I am very excited about, Tim. I love High on Life. I know a lot of people were quite down on it. They weren't a fan on the Royland voice, which, I don't think you have to worry about that anymore. Even though, I was a fan of the quips and the things that annoyed a lot of people and the humor of that game. I really enjoyed it. I played a lot of that game. I played its completion. I've double dipped and I've got it on Steam as well as playing it on Game Pass. So I still need to play High on Knife, the spin-off DLC.
Right.
But that, if you 100% that first game, it does give you a cliffhanger for what could be the sequel. So I am excited to see more of that story. And it's a game of about you wielding these alien weapons that all have different personalities. And I like the look of the new weapons that they've thrown in as well.
Yeah. And was there like twin dueling type stuff in the first game? I don't remember that being the thing.
I don't think there was. I don't remember
Dual
there being
wielding,
any.
I should say, but yeah.
But I like the idea that they have specific dual wielding pistols that are in love. That's very cute.
I think, right, there was one thing I thought was a bit telling. Maybe it's just a timing thing, maybe, but the fact that I don't think you heard any of the voices of the weapons in the trailer. So I think that
I think you heard JP Smooth. He plays the shotgun kind of.
Oh right, yes, you're right. But they weren't front and centering that, and it wasn't very prevalent. So I think that was deliberately taking a back seat to not put people off if that got criticism in the first one, or it may just be the fact that they don't want to show off who's voicing the stuff now. I don't know, but
I mean, because the main character gun of that game was voiced by Justin Roiland, and they got rid of that gun when High on Knife came out because of all the allegations and stuff that was going on, and him being ousted from Squanch Games, I think they're called. But they've done Rick and Morty, and they've got a sound alike to do his lines.
Ready to jump in.
You have a reason to bring that character back. That's fine. I think more people were down on the kind of the writing and the quips in that game, and they get sick of it. But I like that. I'm a very immature person, Tim. I like that stuff.
Fine. Yeah. And it does look like it's some weird traversal stuff, like skateboarding type thing going on in the game, which could add a nice little level of interest to it as well.
It's all the interesting things I like in that. There was a lot of cameos that are thrown in that game, as they tend to do with. They'll put in like YouTubers and stuff that you might know or you might not. Like Red Letter Media have characters in that game that you can find, and you can. There was like these random levels you could spawn where everything's tiny miniatures, and you're a giant, and you're walking along it and you're crushing things. All they see you as their god, and there was one that spawned a movie theater, and you're basically doing Mystery Science Theater 3000 with the cast of Red Letter Media. There were real movies that are out of the copyright now that you can sit and watch in your home base and in the theater. So I really like all that stuff. I'm going to be interested to see how that goes. I sat there and watched an entire film with Denise Richards and Paul Walker.
It was terrible, that film.
About Tammy and the T-Rex, I think it was. Yeah. I watched that. I watched a game where I watched a film where Tiny Tim, the singer, was a an axe-wielding murderer. It was a very interesting game, I thought. I liked all that stuff.
It's definitely different. One thing that we're probably not going to delve into deeply this week, mainly because we don't have time, but also because Dan requested that we save it for next week, but we're not here next week. So I'm going to mention quickly that they did talk about the Rogue Ally and the Ally X.
Finally. Yeah. So they previously announced the ROG Ally X, and then I think the day after it was meant to come out, they announced that it had been delayed. And also, we knew Xbox's worst kept secret that ROG Ally were working on an Xbox handheld of some form. It turns out the ROG Ally X was also part of this. So the one that we've seen behind the scenes with the handles and stuff, that's originally the Xbox one, and now the X is like the Xbox, the super powerful one as well. But originally, everyone was excited about the X coming out when it was coming out because Steam OS is now available to put on other systems. So and Steam OS tends to perform better than Xbox on these PC Windows on these PC handhelds. So it was very exciting to see what Steam OS was going to be like on the ROG X. Now we know the ROG X has an Xbox partnership to it, which means you can play Xbox Game Pass games not just through streaming but also natively on the device. I'm quite excited about one of these. I want to know how much this is going to cost.
Coleman. As an Xbox One,
it's more the game.
Xbox.
I'm a Game Pass subscriber. Every now and then I stop subscribing, and then they bring out a new lineup of games, and I start subscribing again. I think this console is a good argument for you to have Game Pass. If you have Game Pass on one of these, it seems like and your commute and stuff. This looks like a good thing to have.
There's a bit of confusion about whether you can play games natively and stuff like that.
Can.
There seems to be you can, yeah. But then, and they were talking about how much you can download to it, and that being the difference between the two of them as well. So, like, that seemed to be the case. But, excuse me. This came on the back of Xbox announcing that they are no longer working on their own handhelds. But if these exist, there doesn't seem a lot of point in doing so. No, like it seems to gazump the need for them.
Yeah, and it was the funny thing was the announcement of them not working on their own dedicated handheld anymore. It was like the day after the Steam OS test thing where they went, "Hey, look how Steam OS outperforms everything on the handheld consoles." So that was a funny thing. We don't have a date, we don't have a price. We'll see how that goes in future, but it's very exciting, I thought.
Yes.
And it did, and another shout out for Hollow Knight Silk Song, because once again they showed gameplay and that's it. We know it's coming out this year, we just don't know when. There are fans screaming, throwing cash at their screens, scratching out the components of their Xbox in frustration that they don't have this game yet. What's going on with Silk Song? Come on, Xbox, tell us.
It's vaporware, Coleman. It's never coming.
It's never coming out. Yeah. It's the game that you're going to see in a film of someone playing the imaginary game, like Mind's Eye.
No, unfortunately, that does exist, Coleman.
Yes.
Like, one I wanted to mention quickly, hopefully you can sneak in, the Blood of Dawnwalker. Like,
okay.
I just thought interesting concept in the fact that basically it's medieval blade, and not as in like a sword, as in the vampire.
Yes.
As in, we would have called it Daywalker, but we'll probably get sued for doing that. So we'll go with the slightly less accurate Dawnwalker, because that one gets sued, basically. But
no, because then you can set up the sequel and call it Daywalker, and then you got Nightwalker, and then there you go. That's 3 titles already set. Or Evening Walker, then Nightwalker.
But I think they've called it the Blood of Dawnwalker, so they can carry on the Dawnwalker name and then just
fair
go
enough.
With that, I think.
Don't want to use my marketing expertise.
Yes. I'm sure it's great, Coleman, but no. But yeah, like
Cool.
Again, when you're a vampire, medieval saying, taking like the vampire that they tried to turn to their side and didn't go right, and you've become a definitely Dawnwalker, not Daywalker. Even though you're walking around in the day, just not the dawn. Yeah, I can see that being interesting and an interesting game. Again, in this market, not necessarily one that I will be itching to put money down for, but I will keep an eye on it. It seems like an interesting concept, and if it does come to Game Pass or one of the other things, then I will definitely give it a crack if it looks interesting enough, which I like the premise. One to keep an eye on.
Just out of curiosity, what in this upcoming market are you excited to put money down on?
Well, I did mention the one thing that I think, and is the one exception to that for me at the moment, was Clockwork Revolution, because that looks really good.
Fair enough.
So
Okay. Here's one I would have been more excited for, but I feel the license has been slightly sullied by a couple of things and the idea of this game. Invincible Versus.
Ooh.
So a little while ago, I can't remember if it was at an E3 or a Ubisoft presentation or one of those kind of things, but we got a look at an Invincible game, and I got all excited, and it turned out it was a freemium mobile game. And we've had no games since then, and now they've finally gone, okay, you wanted it, here you go. Here's a licensed, incredible fighting game, 3-on-3.
Said incredible, you meant Invincible.
Sorry, Invincible. And I've gone, that's great. You shouldn't have done that the week after we saw the Marvel fighting game that's coming out, because that looks way, way slicker than this.
Yes, bad timing, and this doesn't look quite as good, but still, like, there's room for more fighting games. It's an interesting universe to make things in. The only thing is, like, I haven't watched the latest series, and maybe I think they've released another one since I've said that as well. So I'm a bit behind on my Invincibles.
We finished season 3, I believe.
Yes, I only recognise like the main character and his dad, like
Omega Man and Invincible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Omni-Man, sorry.
Omni-Man.
I do that every time.
No, definitely not Mega Man. They'll get sued. But yeah, like I don't know. Like I like this universe. I think it could make for a good fun fighting game. Like, it's a bit of a shame for them. They were like, hey, it's a 3-on-3 brawler, and then literally like the last week they were like, it's a 4-on-4 brawler. We got one better than you. Like,
yeah,
you know,
but also
and we look a lot better than you anyway.
Yeah, when you compare the two's gameplay, like the Marvel one just looks so much slicker than this, and I don't think the promise of going it's violent is gonna really sway me to go. Yeah, I need to play this more than that.
But look, I mean, literally, Mortal Kombat built its whole thing on being more violent than Street Fighter.
Yeah, and that's also got Omni-Man in it.
Yes, and Omni-Man in it. So, you know, like, there is definitely a place for that. You never know; it could be good, but I think its limited character roster could limit it further, basically.
Well, we don't know how many characters they're going to have in there.
Well, they're going to have only 6 because it's 3-on-3, and if it's 3-on-3 and you have to pick the same people, then that's
it's 3 Omni-Men versus 3 Omni-Men.
Yeah,
that's all you get.
He's everywhere.
Yeah, I would have been more interested. It's just unfortunately State of Play took the wind out of this one's sails for me.
Yeah, a little bit. But it does look cool.
It does. What have we got less on the scrubbing?
Also,
quick. Oh, go on.
Yep. I was going to say the one I've actually played this week, which is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 7, because I can do maths.
3+4.
Yeah, 3+4.
So there's a demo available. It's a paid demo, but they've added that to Game Pass now, I believe.
Right.
Is that right?
I didn't know it was paid. I just know it was on Game Pass, so I downloaded it and played it. It's got 2 levels, the Foundry and a kind of playground type area. I can't remember what that one's actually called.
1 from 3, 1 from 4.
Yeah, that would make sense. I mean, I think I bailed by the time it got to 3 and 4. Like, I think friends had it, but I don't think I played it convincingly. I played much more of 1 and 2. I seem to was 1 on a handheld of some description. Was it PSP? I don't remember.
I remember Tony Hawk Tony Hawk Underground 2 being on PSP.
Okay.
Which is after this one. 2 after this.
Right. Okay. Because I think was it PS1, PS2? I don't remember.
Tim, you're getting lost in your brain again.
I'm getting lost in it anyway. But yeah, like.
These were out. I believe 3 was out between. So you could get a PS1 copy, but also a PS2 copy. Okay, and then I think also I want to say came to GameCube and Xbox as well, or maybe just GameCube. But I know 4 definitely came to GameCube.
Tony Hawk's in general, like, I really enjoyed the first one when it came out. Played it quite a lot. played a bit of 2, and then kind of fell off it. Like, it got a bit too complicated for me to care, and other friends got better at it than I did, and that kind of, reduced my interest in it a little bit. But it's a game that I like enough to want to play, but again, wouldn't necessarily put money down it, even if it's not a full price game and they're putting 2 games together, which I think is a good value proposition. It's a nice way of doing things rather than just remastering each game one by one. But coming to Game Pass, yeah, I will definitely download it and play it at some point. If it's just going to be like a not quite full price game, I'm still not sure I'm on board that. But I really enjoyed the little bit I've played of the demo. But again, not probably enough to put down money on it, but I like that it exists.
I did put down money for 1+2, and I got the flipping. Oh, you get the demo if you pre-order the game and actually put down money for it. That stuff really annoys me, and they did it again this time, but they put it on Game Pass as well. I think I said this before. I was going when we were doing our Game Pass rant that we turned into a short. I was going to buy Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4, and then they went, it's coming to Game Pass, and I went, well, now I'm not buying it. I don't need to. What was the point? I was fully intending to, and now I'm not. It just means I'm not playing it on PlayStation. I'm playing it on an Xbox instead. And they've added Bam Margera into the game, so that's great. I really hope it's modern day Bam Margera, though. I don't want like classic Bam Margera. I want overweight, drunk, on substances, tattoos on his face, Bam Margera.
They've got 2 players you can play as in the demo, one of them being Tony Hawk's, but they've also got like a 3rd character, Doom Guy, that you can only play as if you buy the premium
Super
version.
Edition.
It's like,
Unlockable Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, though.
Yeah, that's a definite plus point.
Pretty good. Yeah, I always like the bonus characters in Tony Hawk games. A lot of them tend to be, we have a license with Activision to make a certain thing on a game. It could be Shrek, it could be a Kiss Pinball. Like, they'll just have a random license and they go, all right, we'll make that a hidden character in the game because we can.
Yeah, that was the other reason I didn't care about 1+2 as much, because they said Spider-Man wasn't in it. So I was like, well, that was the main thing for me in the first game. So
yeah, Spider-Man and I think Spider-Man in the first one, Wolverine in the second, or that might be the other way. It might have been Spider-Man in 2 and Wolverine in 3. I can't remember, but I definitely remember Darth Maul being in there. Yeah, and then it gets more and more bonkers as you get into the Tony Hawk Underground game as well.
Yeah,
games. Planet of Lana, give that one a quick shout, because I really, really liked Planet of Lana, and now it's getting a sequel. So if you've not played this, you should. It's usually discounted quite heavily on Steam, and it's a very good fit for the Steam Deck. But this is one of those type of puzzle platformer, narrative platformers along the lines of like Another World or Flashback. This is one I played at EGX years ago and went, something about this is just hitting me in the right feels. Aliens come to your planet, they take your people, you have to free them and escape the aliens. That is the Planet of Lana. And now we get a second one. It's all good, Tim. Looks great. Yeah.
It's a pretty looking game.
Yes. We're going to leave it there because I think my computer is overheating and it's not letting me queue up videos in a timely manner anymore. Oh, so that's probably a good indicator for us to go.
Yeah. Overall, though, what did you think of both Summer Games Fest and Xbox Games Showcase?
So in my wisdom, I was out on the Friday, so I missed the Summer Games Fest. So I've just kind of gone through, and when I started compiling the list for this show, then I started going through and watching each individual trailer rather than having to listen to people do awkward interviews on stage, or Jeff Keighley just kissing the ground that Hideo Kojima walks on. You know, I missed all of that stuff, and it gave me the opportunity to not watch the latest Death Stranding 2 trailer because I want to play that game and get all the things from it. I've seen enough of that. They didn't really show much.
Now. They showed a little scene from the game that was an interaction between 2 characters that
didn't want to see it.
Made the whole thing look way more boring than they did in all the trailers they'd shown before. So I don't think it did it any favors, to be honest. But
fair enough. Didn't want to see it. But yes, going through the, there was a lot of interesting surprises. I still find that they ended on just one more thing. It's the game that comes out every year. It's a Call of Duty game. That's hilarious to me. I know you own Activision now, Xbox, but come on.
I mean, look, that's a bit predictable, but I don't think it's the worst thing to end on. Probably better to do something that's a bit more of a surprise, but...
Also, I was very interested to see that Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is coming out to Xbox in the winter of this year. That was a very long exclusivity. PlayStation had that.
But Summer Games Fest, I thought was quite good. Like, the presentation was straightforward. It was just Jeff Keighley and friend of the show, Lucy James, actually presenting stuff. Both of them, like, no fluff, just straight in, straight out with the introductions. They did have a few people come up on stage, Mads Mikkelsen for the kind of James Bond thing, and Hideo
James
Kojima,
Bond
no
Hitman
surprise.
content.
But like, there wasn't much fluff to it. It was. I thought it was kind of well presented, in and out, present all the stuff. Like, there was quite a bit there. I thought it missed, like, could have done with a few more like real noteworthy high points, but in general, I thought it was well presented, decent, and had some interesting stuff there. So I thought that was okay.
Cool.
And Xbox Game Pass I thought was quite good.
Yeah, the Xbox shows continue to impress me with...
Oh, he's ringing me. This could be bad news, everyone. Hello, Coleman. Oh. Recording error. Okay. We've got the live show now. Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Oh, good. That's something you have to solve. I'm still on the stream, by the way, so I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. Coleman says goodbye to everyone, and he's going to be back in a couple of weeks. He's now got a bigger headache to sort things out. I'm sorry, Coleman. Oh. Poor StreamYard. Anyway, cool. Bye, everyone. I'm going to go now. Can I leave the studio? Okay. I'm going to leave. Bye, everyone. Cool. All right. Nice one, buddy. I'll speak soon. All right, bye. That was live Coleman phone call. I'll see everyone later. Hopefully this will work out. Hopefully Coleman will solve something. I'll see you soon.